What is up, guys? Misha here from Beyond the Huddle, and welcome to another video. Today is going to be the altcoin forecast. Yesterday, Ralphie gave you guys the Bitcoin forecast, and he was telling you guys how things were not looking too hot for Bitcoin and the crypto market as a whole. So today we're going to be taking a look at the altcoins, and we'll see how everything is playing out. Is Bitcoin outperforming or the altcoins outperforming? Yeah, we'll get into all that good stuff. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. Alright, guys, we are now looking at the Bitcoin chart, and we're not going to stay on this for too long. We'll just do a quick review of Bitcoin before we get into the altcoins. But basically what we're looking at here, guys, is that Bitcoin opened the week below our new short-term level, which we get one every single week. So this week, by the time the market opened, we realized that the short-term level was above us, and therefore it could be potentially be used as resistance. And as Ralphie showed you guys yesterday, that is what happened on Bitcoin. We have had this level being used as resistance, and price has been falling ever since. Now our next level of support was going to be the longer term macro level, which Ralphie mentioned yesterday. We did not want to see that level get broken, and we had the last pretty much barrier of before the price falls all the way down into a discount here would have been this daily demand right here. So we are definitely below this monthly longer term level, but we are also hitting this daily demand right here. So if we want to see this market continue to rally without giving us a big retracement, we would have to see price reverse around this area. So that's what we're going to be keeping an eye on, but definitely we are already below this longer term level. So if today closes below that, that could potentially be a sign that we're going to see a further drop down on Bitcoin, which could take us all the way down into the discount of this range right here, which is the first area that we would be targeting if that were to be the case. So definitely keeping an eye on this level, see if we can find a reversal signal down there for price to potentially come back and reclaim this level. If not, we're going to be taking a deeper dive into this discount. So that's pretty much it for Bitcoin, guys. Right now, things are looking pretty bearish unless we see a reversal around the current area that we're in. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the altcoin versus Bitcoin. All right, guys, right now we are looking at the total crypto market cap. And as you guys can see, the market has been going down this entire week. We have a weekly bearish candle. And now if we even look at things from a monthly perspective, now we have a big wick to the upside. And now this monthly candle is starting to expand to the downside. So this is showing us that the market as a whole has been going down. Now the question is, who's going down the most? Is it Bitcoin or is it altcoin? So we're going to be taking a look at this chart right here, which is our total 2 divided by Bitcoin, which again is just the inverse of the Bitcoin dominance. And whenever this chart is going higher, this is telling us that altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin. And whenever this chart is going lower, it is telling us that Bitcoin is outperforming the alts. So if you guys remember from the last video, we spoke about a couple different levels. We had this 3-day supply right here that was being hit. And then we also had this daily demand right here that I told you guys we did not want to see that get broken. Well, basically what we're seeing here is a big consolidation between these two levels. So we have this resistance right here and then this support right here, and price is bouncing between these two levels. Now, we are still above the monthly open, but we got to remember, we are below the quarterly open. So looking at this from a quarterly perspective, guys, we are currently, this is a bearish candle on the quarter. Now, when we go down into a monthly, what you guys can see is that this is looking like we just had a wick to the upside on the month. Again, today is the November 18th. So we have plenty of time for this to potentially expand to the downside, which means that if we were to see something like this and Bitcoin stays bearish, that means altcoins would bleed a lot more than Bitcoin. We would see major drops in altcoins. If Bitcoin stays bearish, that's what we would potentially expect. Now, if Bitcoin were to reclaim its monthly level that I mentioned in the previous segment, then that would mean that Bitcoin would be rallying a lot harder than most altcoins. Now, let's drop back down into the weekly time frame. As you guys can see, right now we are still within last week's range. We have not broken out of last week's range. We can see that last week we tried to break out of the previous week's range at the time, and we rejected, came back within the range, and now this week we're still within last week's range. So it's a big consolidation, and price is hanging around the monthly open. So right now we would want to see if price is going to respect this monthly open or if we are going to break it. If we're able to break this monthly open, then the scenario that I just mentioned of altcoins dropping a lot harder than Bitcoin if Bitcoin stays bearish would play out. If not, we might see this market continue to consolidate between these two levels, which means that some days you'd have Bitcoin outperforming, some days you'd have altcoins outperforming, but you wouldn't really have a clean straight trend with either Bitcoin just outperforming everyone or altcoins outperforming Bitcoin. So that's what we're seeing here with this total 2 divided by BTC USDT. As you guys can see, right now we are below the weekly open. So there's a potential that we might go below that monthly open, although we're rejecting it today. So today's a bearish day right here. So overall, altcoins have been dropping more than Bitcoin today. That's pretty much what this is telling us. So with that said, guys, that's the altcoin versus Bitcoin. Now we're going to be taking a look at Ethereum. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. All right, guys, we are now looking at Ethereum BTC. And if you guys remember from last week's video, I was talking about how we were potentially going to bounce off of this level right here. That was the level that we wanted to see hold. And as you guys can see, let me remove the open here. We kind of respected the midpoint, the equilibrium price point of that daily demand. And then we saw a move higher. But once this move went higher, what happened? Price stopped at this daily supply right here, which also, if we go into a 4-hour time frame, you guys can see clearly that was a 4-hour premium. Right here, you guys can see, boom, into the 4-hour premium. Now we are headed back down. So that was target 1 on Ethereum BTC. This level right here, that was our target 1 that got hit. We never actually reached our target 2, and obviously not target 3, which would have been an all-time high on here. And now we're starting to see price start to break down. Now, as it's breaking down, we are currently below the weekly open, and we're using the monthly open as support. So this is the last level of support before we potentially fall all the way down into a discount of this range right here, which would be from this swing low up to this swing high. You guys can see the discount would take us into the 61.8 to 78.6 area right down here. And that would happen if we're able to break below this monthly open. When we look at things from a monthly perspective, you guys can kind of see that we had a big reversal right here, and then price dropped, but then had a quick retracement after hitting what? After hitting this weekly discount right here. We had a quick retracement. There was a daily demand right there. And now we're moving back up into what? Into a premium, right? Which was the area where we had our daily supply right here. So if we go and polar fibs again from this high down to this low, you guys can see that was the premium area, 78.6 right here. Perfect hit to that level, and now price is starting to go down. So based on that, if we're going to respect this premium right here, we could potentially see this go all the way down and potentially even break below this low and continue into a bear trend. Now, what that would tell us is that Ethereum would be getting outperformed by Bitcoin. That's what we would get from this idea right here. Now, obviously, if we respect this monthly open, then things are completely different, because you got to remember, we are above the quarterly open right now. So if we respect the monthly open, then there's a potential that we can go higher and then potentially hit target 2. Now, this going higher or lower does not tell us whether Ethereum itself is going to be going higher or lower. This is telling us whether Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin or not. So right now, we're also seeing this pretty much a consolidation, just like the altcoin index that we just looked at. Again, from our target 1 right here down to this monthly open, we're kind of bouncing within this area. So whichever way breaks is going to give us a better idea of where this is headed next. Now, if Bitcoin stays bearish and this continues to drop, that means that we could see a very big downtrend on Ethereum. However, if Bitcoin keeps the bearishness and then this reverses here, that means that Ethereum would hold more of its gains compared to Bitcoin, right? It wouldn't drop as hard as Bitcoin. Now, if Bitcoin were to switch into a bullish trend, then we would want to see this potentially reverse as well, and that would mean that Ethereum would outperform Bitcoin. But at the moment, nothing's pretty much clear on this chart, apart from the fact that we are bouncing off of this monthly open right here, and we're also above the quarterly open. So this little zone right here is the zone that we want to see get respected. Once price breaks below this zone, then we're definitely looking at a discount here and potentially going below these lows right here. So that's what we're seeing on Ethereum BTC. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum USDT. All right, guys, we are now looking at Ethereum USD, and just like Bitcoin, now Ethereum is actually below its monthly open, we saw the move down again after we hit target 1. We were using this demand area as support, and I was talking about how if we can push back up above the weekly open at the time, then that would allow us to go ahead and hit our target number 2 as long as Bitcoin stayed bullish. But now that Bitcoin has turned bearish, we can expect most alts to be bearish as well, and Ethereum is no exception. And as you guys can see, price has been dropping. We broke through this demand right here that we're using as support. We broke through the monthly open, and now we are back within this demand zone right here, which I wouldn't be paying too much attention to because this is an area that's already been used right here. We went into the wick already. If this continues, right, if price continues to drop, then we could potentially see price come down into a discount, because obviously we're still above the quarterly open, just like on Bitcoin. So we could see a retracement down here. So from this low up to this high, we could see a retracement back down into this area, and maybe even looking at this daily demand right here, that could potentially be an area where we could see some potential support right here, right around the 61.8 area. So that's pretty much what we're seeing on Ethereum. If we look at it from a quarterly perspective, you guys can see, like I said, the quarterly is still bullish. We hit our target number 1. We have the monthly time frame. We're seeing some type of a reversal around these highs on the monthly. And then when we drop down into the weekly, we can see this range a little better. So from this swing low right here, all the way to this swing high right there. So we also have this weekly demand right here, right at the 61.8. So that gives us 33.58. So basically $3,358 is an area where we could see Ethereum drop down into, and that would be about it's about a 17% drop from where we're currently at. So again, if Bitcoin's bearish, alts are bearish. The Ethereum BTC cross is kind of consolidating, but trending towards the downside. So definitely looking for more downside on Ethereum, unless Bitcoin were to reverse around where it's at right now. And then we could potentially see if alts are going to go back to outperforming Bitcoin. But at the moment, everything is pointing towards bearish signs as Bitcoin is closing below the monthly level. So let's go ahead and take a look at the last coin for today, which is going to be 1inch. All right, guys, we're now looking at the 1inch BTC chart. And if you guys remember from last week's video, we were talking about how this would have been our last level of support before we could potentially see a drop down, at least into this quarterly open right here. And that's exactly what we're starting to see now. We're seeing that the weekly open is now being used as resistance, meaning that BTC is outperforming 1inch. So 1inch is underperforming right now. And we can definitely see this market continue to drop lower into this daily demand right here. If we look at it from a weekly perspective, you guys can see it from swing low to high. I'm not even going to mark out this fib. We can see that price could potentially continue to drop lower into this discount. Now, as long as we stay above this yearly open, there is potential for prices to go higher again. But obviously, we're already in November, so there's only about a month and a half left of this yearly open being that relevant. So again, once we broke below this area right here, 1inch is not really something that I would be interested in at the moment, especially as it's underperforming Bitcoin. I will go ahead and take a and show you guys what I'm seeing on the USDT charts, but that's definitely not something that I am interested in at the moment once we broke this area right here. So let's go ahead and take a look at that USDT cross. All right, guys, we are now looking at 1inch USDT. And again, same scenario. We had this little area right here that we wanted to see used as support. Now, we did see price drop into it, use it as support, and then try to break above the monthly open, which also had one of our resistance areas right there as well. We had this resistance area and that resistance area. And I was telling you guys that in order for us to reach this one, we first had to break above that one. And then in order for us to reach the all-time high, we would have to break this right here. But as you guys can see, even after bouncing off of this demand area, we can see that price hit the monthly open, hit the resistance area, wick through it, and then boom, now we are dropping to the downside. Now, obviously, this is no longer something that I'm interested in. Like I mentioned, we could definitely see prices drop lower down into the discount of this quarterly open right here. If we look at things from a monthly perspective, you guys can see this month has been completely bearish. And if we go down into a weekly time frame, you guys can see again, the past 2 weeks have been trending to the downside. Now, could we potentially come down and hit this weekly demand right here and then go higher from there? Absolutely. But right now, this is no longer something that I'm interested in, because the play that I was looking for was for us to hold this area right here, and we are not doing so. So pretty much 1inch is no longer something that we are interested in at the moment. Could that change in the future? Absolutely. But we'll be looking at other coins that the smart money scanner might recommend to us. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Hope you guys got some value from this. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, smash the like button, and then subscribe to the channel. And also make sure to click the notification bell so you can get notified every time we drop a new video. Every single week we drop a Bitcoin forecast and an altcoin forecast, so you guys do not want to miss that. And with that said, guys, I will see you all in the next video. Peace.